All right, hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for a quick case study here from Cash Flow Tactics. So, Jimmy, this is a case you and I are currently working on with a client, and the numbers were good enough and clean enough that we thought it was worth sharing so people can get an idea of what we're talking about when we say there's the right way to invest in the real estate and then there's the way that everybody else does it, right?
Right.
So what we've got here on the screen is this is a client that is moving forward with us. And after they met with us, they said, hey, no, I'm a real estate investor. I think I got my hands around this. Why would I need what you guys are doing in Cash Flow Tactics? And what he had 3 empty lots that he owned free and clear. They're worth about $165,000. And he said, I am investing in real estate. And what we pointed out to him in the conversation was, yes, you might own real estate, but you're far from being a real estate investor. What you've done is you've taken the mentality that is prevalent among people that invest in the stock market, and you've taken that same mentality, switched asset classes, and applied it to real estate, and you think you're doing better. But what most people find out is they actually end up doing worse because it's really not the asset class that matters. It's the mentality and the strategies and tactics that you use to invest with it, hence cash flow tactics, right? So we're going to point out what tactics he was missing and how reorienting him to the way we invest in real estate is going to dramatically change what he has going for him.
Well, I think he had a paradigm shift between an accumulation mindset and a cash flow mindset.
Exactly, because he loved showing this $165,000 asset on his balance sheet, right?
And it was raw land, right?
He didn't owe anybody anything on it. Well, we'll show you in a minute. He kind of really did, but he didn't owe anything, and he had it there, and that was his net worth.
Right. And you can't. We constantly harp on this, but you cannot eat equity.
And that was the shift. So with this guy, he sold a business about 5 years ago, and he sold it on an earn-out schedule. Now, we don't need to get into all the detail on that, but it was basically the people that bought it were going to pay him a percentage of earnings until he had earned out or they had paid him a total amount. And so when I first started engaging with him, he was fine because he had tons of cash flow from this earn-out. But at the beginning of the year, that earn-out ended. He was paid off, and now he was scrambling to say, well, how am I going to pay my bills, right?
Yeah.
So it came to he had a big balance sheet, but now he had a cash flow problem. And that's what we're getting in here to discuss and talk about solving that with him today. So as we dug deeper into this, we realized he's paying about $250 a month or about $3,000 a year in property taxes on these properties. So if we look at his return, especially within the things that he can control, he's owned this property for about 10 years, and it's not appreciated over the 10 years. It went up, and then it crashed in 08, and then it came back up to where it's about where it was when he bought it. So it hasn't gone anywhere. He's losing 2% per year, so he has to make 2% just to break even on the property in appreciation, just to break even, right? And he doesn't have any debt against it, so he's not getting any benefits of amortization, okay? So for us, we teach a concept that we call the 4 pillars of investing. And this guy, Doug, he's only using really one of them, right? Which is appreciation. He's missing the other 3. Okay, and that's what we're going to show him having when we go down to the proposed situation that we're putting together for him right now. So what we're proposing we do now is we roll that $165,000 of equity and we begin using these other pillars. We focus on 2 main areas, cash flow and leverage. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to buy new property for $644,000 worth of property. And by the way, these aren't hypotheticals. These are real properties. Jimmy, you're putting the sales contracts together right now as we speak. These are real properties that we've gone through and analyzed that he's going to be buying. Okay. Right. So we've got them all right here. Okay. So there's $644,000 of property, and he's going to get total loans of about $540,000. This is about an 80% LTV that he's going to be able to get.
And I'm just going to step in. It's 30-year fixed financing.
Yes.
Which is critical. If you have balloons in these payments, these numbers could be skewed. But what we offer our investors is, at least if you're married, you can get up to 20 of these fixed finance loans, which are a middle-class welfare payment.
It is. And that's the big benefit here of working with team members that can get the right, because not everybody can just go out to their average lender and be able to get one of these real estate investor loans. We need to be working with the right lenders that really understand how to put this together. That's what we're doing in this case.
To suck the risk out of this deal, it's critical that you have a 30-year fixed loan.
Yes, we cannot take on interest rate risk, especially in the interest rate environment we're at, where they only have one direction to go, which is up.
Right. I mean, you could, me and Bob do, but
that's because you're in the business of it, right? If we want to do this passively, like me, who I want to make my money my business, and they give it to you to help me invest it, I'm not going to take that risk.
Right.
Yep. Perfect. So cash out of pocket, including reserves. So we encourage every investor to take 3 mortgage payments and set it aside ahead of time when they're going to invest. So we're including setting aside 3 mortgage payments as part of their down payment, even though it's not really going to the property. We're setting that aside so that we've got some buffer with these properties. Okay, so he needs about $144,000. Now remember, he's got $165,000 of value. Now this client happens to be doing a 1031 exchange. That's really not relevant to what we're trying to show here, but he's just going to roll the $165,000 proceeds into this. But he only needs $144,000 or so down to buy the properties. Okay, what this is going to turn into on an annual basis is over $100,000 in rental income. Now, he's going to pay about $60,000 in expenses between property management fees and property taxes and property insurance, as well as setting aside money for future maintenance that we know is going to come up, vacancy that we know is going to come up, and everything it takes to operate and run this property. We're setting aside $60,000, about 60% of rents, which is very, very conservative. Okay, we're setting aside 60% of that to operate the property. Then we're going to pay debt service out of that, leaving net cash flow in the area of about $25,000 a year, or just over $2,000 a month.
Where is he going to put that $60K inside a life insurance policy?
This $60K?
Yeah.
That's being paid to other people. That comes out before it ever hits his bank account.
Okay.
Okay. Then he's going to pay the difference between the remaining 40 and the $25,000. That's debt service that also is paid every month.
Okay.
And then the $25,000 a year is what he will be able to keep. And we teach the concept in our other videos. Feel free to go through and look at them, where we teach the idea of cash flow banking. That what he is going to do is this is going to all come to his cash flow bank.
Okay.
Okay. So that's where he's going to house that $25,000 a year. So we've gone from negative $3,000 a year to positive $25,000 a year. This is a $28,000 a year swing in cash flow. Okay. That's win number one. And for him, who went from these big earnouts in the business that he sold to dropping his income, this is going to materially change. I mean, this for this client is almost the difference between being able to continue to live the lifestyle he's living and having to downsize. Okay, so this is a huge difference for him. And we're only using $165,000 in assets. It's not like he had to have $500,000 or $750,000 to make a difference here. Okay. Right. Now, the second point that a lot of people miss is this idea of leverage. Yes, we're making mortgage payments, but some of that value comes back to us because we're paying down the principal on those notes. And in the first year alone, so just in year one, he's going to pay down about $8,000 on the principal on those notes. And that's real value to him in his balance sheet, his portfolio.
I mean, that's almost another down payment on another house.
Well, virtually. Yep. Okay. So his total return, we're looking at $33,000, almost $3,000 a month, $2,750, $2,760 a month in total return by adding 2 of the 4 pillars back into this. Because now we can instead of just relying on appreciation, before we have any appreciation at all, we've got cash flow and we've got leverage working for us. In his case, based on the $143,000 that he has to put into these, that's a 17% cash on cash return, 17.5%. And then the fact that he's paying down $8,000 a year in year one, which is going to increase every year as he pays this debt down, that's a 5.5% return right there. So total return, a 23% total return when we look at just cash flow and amortization.
Nice.
Okay, pretty good. Now, there's one more pillar. So let's go back up to these pillars. We've identified that we've got cash flow and amortization, or what we call leverage. The last pillar are tax benefits, okay? In this case, he was paying taxes, okay? What we want to do is we want to go to the side where we're saving taxes. So because of the way we can run rental real estate, the expenses—
I want to break the tax part into another video.
We want to do that later, okay? So a teaser for the next video is we can actually increase this rate of return to an effective 33% because of how our returns are taxed, or better said, how they're not taxed. So just by focusing on what we really focus on here at Cash Flow Tactics, by adding in cash flow and leverage, we've gone from losing 2% per year to earning 23% per year. So if you think you've got assets that you want to move to this strategy or learn how you can do this in your portfolio, join us at cashflowtactics.com. There's an opt-in there where you can start getting more case studies, videos, more explanations, and you can learn how to get in touch with us to learn how to do this. Anything else, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, as we keep going through this mind map and developing it, like, I keep learning more about my own business, which I think is, one, pretty cool. And two, I guess I'll just end it with it's pretty cool. And I guess I become more and more a staunch supporter that you never put equity into the walls of your house, and you need to always use leverage. Leverage
is the linchpin. We'll cover this in the other video as well, but leverage really becomes the linchpin. But what people need to understand is we're not Wild West gambling with this leverage, right? We're buying, we've got lots of buffers, lots of security. We've got the 30-year fixed loans that we're putting into this. And this 23% rate of return that we're making here carries significantly less risk than what you're currently having if you've got 401ks or mutual funds, because it's secured by the asset, right? We've got tenants in there. We can go in and influence this, whereas our market-based accounts, we have no control over, no influence, and they're not really backed by anything. So that's the thing to remember here is it's less risky than what most people are doing day to day, yet we're able to generate significantly better returns.
Yeah, go back up to the 4 pillars. Like, whether you want to call it the 4 pillars, whatever you want to call it, I'm reading Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb.
Mm-hmm.
And I get excited when I make money when I'm wrong. Like, yeah. Am I bullish on St. Louis real estate? Absolutely. But if I'm wrong, do I still make money from cash flow?
Yes.
If the rent, I'm bullish on the rents we have. If the rents go down a little bit, do I still make money on taxes and amortization?
Yes.
So I want to put as many scenarios together where I can be wrong and still make money.
Exactly. It's these areas right here that are really responsible for decreasing our risk. Because if you've got money in the market and the market doesn't go your way, there's nothing you can do about it. You're done.
Right.
Like Jimmy said, let's say none of this property appreciates for 10 years, just like these lots didn't appreciate for this other guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't matter because we still make 23% off cash flow and amortization, right? Even if our cash flow is half of what we thought it was going to be, that's still a pretty healthy 8% rate of return. And then we're guaranteed that the 5.5%, as long as we're making our payments, we're going to make that, right?
I mean, and the other thing about investing in the market, you put all your after-tax income or some tax-deferred income and take all the risk. On this, you have partners in your risk. One, the American taxpayer, because he's supporting your loan. Two, yep. You have me and Bob, because our business rides on our reputation. And three, you got Ryan and Brad, because your business rides on your reputation that this stuff works.
Exactly. You've got now a team around you vested in you being successful. Because if you're not successful, none of us are successful. We're all working on this together.
with skin in the game.
Exactly.
Another Caleb comment.
And the other thing to consider here is we're not speculating in real estate, right? Where most people lost money is they were buying houses and new developments on the edge of Las Vegas, right? This wasn't proven locations. This wasn't proven real estate, right? St. Louis, for example, can anybody move the Mississippi River somewhere else?
An earthquake, but that's why I have all the turnkey buyers get earthquake insurance.
There you go. Okay. So that core center to what St. Louis is, and the shipping and the manufacturing, the stuff that happens there, isn't going anywhere, right? And so we pick a market that's been proven, and we pick real estate that's been proven. These aren't huge dollar value properties like this one. We're paying $70,000 for it, and we're collecting $1,000 in rent. Just about anybody making at least $30,000 a year can pay $1,000 in rent, right? That's 30% of your income. That's what people are used to paying. So this isn't, like I said, we're using a very, very stable asset base. We're not using beachfront property in Maui that's super expensive, and we've got volatility that if the tourism industry is hurt, we're now affected by it. This is stuff that just is going to continue to chug along day in and day out for the next 30 years.
I'm with you. All right. So
awesome.
If you're interested in this, visit cashflowtactics.com. Get our free mind map. Also, text cashflow to 797979. That's 3 7 9s. And then check out tomorrow's video because I really want to dive into leverage and taxes on these numbers.